Hey there, it's Dalyla, and this is Living in Dyalla, where today we are having dialogue about being in love.
Ooh la la, yes girl.
But not with somebody. So yeah, let's talk about being in love, but really the concept of just being. Now yes, it's diving into a lot of the mindfulness and being practices, and a lot of you have all, while we've been here on this COVID-19 quarantine, have been doing a lot of this toxic motivational crap, talking about we need to do. You know what? Before I get into it, we're gonna hold our horses.
Yes, Sally, hold your horses, and the Great Danes too.
If a dialogue doesn't have two-way streets, it becomes a monologue, and that's not what we're about. So leave a comment, leave a like, go ahead and press the like, and join the subby club, because the more the merrier. So, yeah. Before we dive in, sit back. I wrote a poem and made a short video that helps illustrate what I mean by being in love, but not with somebody. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. For those of you who, for some reason, don't want to enjoy the
masterpiece of Dyalla,
then go ahead and skip. It's about like 2 minutes, you know. Just go ahead and skip about 2 minutes from here, and I'll see you on the other side. Being in love. Being in love, but not with, just being in love. It's discovery, adventure, exploration, experimentation, being fully present, open to possibility and unknowns, holding any hypothesis with loose grasp, allowing life to reveal an ordained time. She warned me not to arouse or awaken love before it so desires. Is curiosity. An endless stream of questions, uninhibited, and being okay when I don't quite understand. A life source of wisdom. It's creativity and play. Like the trust of a child under a mother's watch, I take risks, look silly, and tumble, knowing it's safe to try new things because I no longer need to work for love. Some call it freedom. Is terrifyingly vulnerable. To be fully seen, fully known, and having a mirror reflection that exposes every defect. It's risky business on a foundation of betrayal that is only overcome in a spirit of courage, is as strong as death. It's jealousy unyielding as the grave. It burns like blazing fire, like a mighty flame. Is serenity. Acceptance of a peace beyond understanding in a world of vapor. Being in love. Being in love, but not with somebody, not with anybody, not with a body, just being. So, what'd you think? No, seriously, I am actually very proud of that video. I think it reflects a lot of the thoughts and work I've been doing. So the history behind where I first heard this was a few weeks ago, maybe, I don't know, a few weeks ago. I was listening to this woman talk, and at some point she goes,
Yeah, I'm in love, but not with someone.
and then she actually goes on to explain how she's in love with someone, but it doesn't matter. It's one of those things where someone might have meant something, but this is what I took. You may not have meant to drop that wisdom, but it became something that soaked in as wisdom. So that's how truth works sometimes. And I was kind of stuck on that point. Like, I'm in love, but not with someone. And just this idea of being in love, but not having to have an object or a human or an other that you are in love with, and not having to have that with, but just being able to be in love. And what does that mean? especially as we've been in this quarantine world, I think it really connected because one of the hardest things early on in quarantine for me was the fact that I was so used to doing so much. Like, my weekends were packed every weekend, my evenings packed. I was not home very often. And so the idea that I couldn't go somewhere, that I had to stay home a lot, that I didn't have the excuse to even go to church or anything else, but I really needed to just be and rest and do work at home and, just live. It was insanely crazy how difficult that was to say, but I know it's not that crazy, and I know a lot of you are relating with that right now. So when you're thrust in this world of solitude, into this world where your schedules are crazy and no routine makes sense and you can't go anywhere, so you're just left to be, it's a good time to practice being in love, right? So I think it's simple in itself, like, the idea of just living, being your whole self, just being a human and not having to do. And then in love, for me, love is God, God is love. And so when I think about that, I just get to be in God's love. I get to be in God, and knowing that my identity in God is enough. Now, I mentioned it earlier, but I know y'all seen it. These toxic motivation crap that people are putting out. Okay, it's not utter crap, because I get it. It is opportunity to be productive for some of us who need that little kick to get going. But y'all seen it. Look, this, that. Yeah, these posts that are telling us that, by the end of this quarantine, by the end of this virus, we should have written that novel, that play. We should have come up with that manuscript or something that is deserving of the Nobel Peace Prize, or have figured out a way to live on Mars by now. All of those posts that are meant to be motivating, I get the heart, but at the end of the day, like, this is all global trauma. We going through it. People are depressed. People are now in domestic situations that are extremely difficult. People who are, we're social beings, and isolation, solitary confinement is one of the cruelest punishments there is. And so of course this is a really hard time. It's like the great equalizer of difficulty. We're all going through it. Not the same challenges and difficulties, but we're all going through it. Whether it be our nurses and our doctor staff, to the people who are serving us food and delivering food and opportunities, or people who are stuck at home, who are doing their best to do their part, or even just people who are going through all sorts of sickness, physical, mental, emotional, it's hard, and it's a trauma. And so therefore, who are we to say, you better come out with a product? Because you know what? That's a product of making us human doings, that our existence and our value comes from what we produce. And that's not true. Whoever needs to hear that, you are not what you produce. You are not a human doing. You are not a human producing. You are a human being. You are enough in yourself and who you are. We treat it as if we have to work to prove our value. So those of us who are workaholics, who have to constantly find ourselves in this perfectionist space, I'm a perfectionist, so I get it, but like this space where if we have to work to prove that we are good enough. For my sisters and my people of color, I know a lot of times we are constantly working to prove ourselves because we have to fight these oppression systems that are already on top of us. I think many of us need to hear in this time that if you don't come out with a Nobel Peace Prize winning article, book that happens to also be the best TikTok video in 10 seconds that the world has seen, that's perfectly great, and you are perfectly still valuable. It does not determine your value. What's wrong with toxic motivation is it also creates an utter fear of failure. That we can't try things like hobbies, do things for fun anymore because we don't want to mess up. It's this fear that if I come out of this quarantine and I haven't done those things, that all of a sudden, like, I failed, that it leads to depression and anxiety and feelings of worthlessness and all those things. Perfectionists out there that we hear, like, look, you can just be. You don't have to, like, if you get 3 out of the 15,000 things that are possible to do done in a day, if you get nothing done in a day, if you do really great on watching Tiger King in a day, then that is good enough. That doesn't change your value. And that's the beauty of hobbies. I found myself during this quarantine picking up a lot of hobbies. Even these videos, it's allowed me to create more content more frequently. I picked up my guitar. I've been scrapbooking. I've been, I don't know, playing, y'all, my spades game has brushed up. I've been playing spades on my phone a lot.
Try a sister, I got y'all.
But yeah, just hobbies, things that I don't expect to get something out of it, to make a product out of it. I don't find my value in it, but it is something that I enjoy and like to do. Some practices that help with this is mindfulness, obviously. So practicing doing the fully present exercises, like popping yourself with a rubber band or pinching yourself to bring yourself back to where you are in the present moment. What else? Meditation is really good. So yoga, some people like that, but anything that helps you to clear and just be and not have to produce anything. Thank you to COVID, Rona, however you're going nowadays, girl. Thank you for at least helping us to be human beings in this time, and be able to know that our value is not in our work, especially for those of us who are losing jobs, who are furloughed, who have found ourselves working from home and out of our system, not able to do as much. Guess what? It's okay. You're a human being. Your worth is not in your work anyways. So, you know what, sis who was trying to help out with this whole motivational stuff, thank you, but no thank you. And we're gonna be okay being in love is about embracing solitude. So, yes, solitude. I am an extrovert. Check out my ENFP Asks videos. I'm an extrovert. And solitude, alone time is not my favorite, but it's great for my introverted feeling function. Embracing solitude allows us to enter into being in love with ourselves, and even self and God. My therapist has been using this scripture a lot in terms of my relationship with my faith about Jesus. And right before, he's washing the disciples' feet, there's a scripture that says Jesus, and fully in himself, then went on to serve. And all the disciples are like, what are you doing? You the Lord, you're God. Get up off your feet, get up off your knees. What's going on? And Jesus was like, no, I am fully assured in who I am. And so therefore I know that to serve, to do this is not going to lower who I am in any way. But being in solitude with self, with your thoughts, with your looking at yourself in the mirror, not having others to distract from yourself, but rather having to just be fully in yourself without anyone else or anything other than yourself to distract, or relationship with God even. Like, it's scary. It's vulnerable. It's you see all yourself, and we got to be honest, not all of ourself is pretty at all times. We're humans that are also perfect imperfections, right? We have flaws. The more that you're able to embrace solitude and embrace being in love, and just being, then the more able you are actually to be fully a whole being in relationship. You're not enmeshed trying to complete yourself with someone else or distract yourself from your own life. You're not a half being. Like, you're able to be fully yourself, fully accept yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, and the messy, and be able to be in a relationship with someone else that is healthy and beautiful. And so I found that the more I've done this work on developing being in love, like, I've been able to show up before others, not defensive, not insecure. I've been able to be my fuller creative self. Go from having to need others to be there in order to validate yourself or distract self, and instead being able to enjoy others without necessarily being in need. There's this scripture in Ecclesiastes, and Ecclesiastes is about, just read the whole book. I'm not even gonna give you all a chapter, because just read the whole book. It's perfect for what we're working through right now. But Ecclesiastes, it has a great balance of what is the purpose. Why are you here on earth? Live for folly, live for work. Like, where's this balance? And one of the stories is about a man who works his whole life and You know, he lives his whole life trying to build legacy, build for, you know, himself and security and for the generations that come after him. And I love how the book just kind of takes a pause and is like, wait, well, he builds all this, but he doesn't even know if the person coming after him, what they'll do with it. Will they take care for it? Will they grow it? You have no control over that. And so therefore, don't get overly caught up in working for your legacy to build up in this world. Your value is not in work. And there's a balance in that. You have to learn to enjoy, to eat, be happy, and love God. And so, but it does take courage. And so, build up that courage. Know that it's worth it. Keep the end goal in mind. Knowing that that freedom, that desire for peace, that desire for contentment is all on that path and journey of being able to be in love. In closing of this dialogue, go ahead and do your part. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. And let me know your suggestions. How do you like being? What are your mindfulness practices? What do you think about the idea of being in love? You can even just say, girl, I'm for it. Or girl, I don't know. It's far-fetched. Yeah, let's do it. Be community, be in dialogue. And while you're at it, go ahead and like, subscribe, and check out these videos that are popping up.
So much work in it. So much work in it. So much work in it.
All right. With that, goodbye for now until we make another video. Bye.